Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Making 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Was Abandoned and Awaken a Kekkei Genkai. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was One of the Legendary 7 over on Anime King. And enjoy that guys. And he also posts a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Jashin sealed inside of him. So go ahead and check that out and enjoy guys. And also, remember if you're new to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Animaking family. Yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Animaking, Animaking 2, Animaking 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Animaking family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah. Without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last part we left off as we were in the council room, as Hiruzen informed the council members that an invasion was gonna happen upon the village. They started to panic. This was the main reason why he didn't tell them anything yet, as he wanted to wait until it was the final moments. Still it was a week in, as he has already put in the measures, so the village would be protected. But they have noticed that most of the shinobis that were supposed to go on high rank missions are being recalled to the village, and they were confused by that, so he decided to explain. They want to know his source though, as Naruto revealed himself. All of them were shocked with disdain and anger as they saw the demon child, as Naruto cursed back at them as they cursed at him, as he showed them that he wasn't afraid of them and he didn't give a damn about what they say. He also revealed something to them that shocked them. The Kyuubi was standing beside him that shocked them to their core, as he asked the old man if he could leave and he said yes. Some time passed after that as Naruto took Hana out on another date, as Kiba also get to know Naruto as he thanked Naruto for protecting his sister back then. With that, some more time passed as Naruto was once again summoned as he went to the council room. The council was acting all nice and charming with him, as they wanted to offer him the rightful property of Minato. As Naruto asked them who the hell they think they are, it already belonged to him, and just because he just found out that he wasn't a Kyuubi, they want to be nice to him. He told them to go and screw themselves, as they were giving him demands and saying all they can. As Naruto simply took off his headband, well, he can just leave Konoha. And they knew that would be rather troublesome for another village to get their hands on Nine-Tailed Fox. And they couldn't allow that to happen. Danzo was already scheming on a way for him to get the boy and control him. And not to mention, since it looked like he had complete control of the fox, he had to get it done. As the council room calmed down, they couldn't really do anything about him, as Hiruzen seemed to be on the boy's side 100%. After all of them deserved it after what the hell they put the boy through. With that, more time passed, as Kushina came back to the village. As Naruto gathered Haku and him and Natsuma made their way near the 3-man team to go and take the exam, when they heard Tuki angrily telling someone to leave. As he was none other than Kushina, Tuki was very pissed off at her for the way that she deserted their own child. As Naruto saw her and her 3 children, it pissed him off as one of them nearly attacked Tuki. Naruto was about to slice his head clean off, as Kushina told him to stop, as she looked towards that thing that was no longer her son, with clear anger on her face, but he returned it back with full force, as she felt this aura around him, something that kind of frightened her. The power, it felt monstrous, as she decided to pay Hiruzen a visit, as they were here to inform and take part in June exams. The day was finally here as Naruto met back with the Sand siblings, as Gaara and Conqueror and Temari, and things had looking up better for them, as Naruto also told them they need to talk about the invasion. As they were shocked by that, how did he know? With that, they made their way. Something caught Naruto's attention. It was a woman inside the exam area. There was something about her. She can't remind him of a cat, but there was something else, as Natsuma thought about it. She got a look on her face as she seemed to realize something, but she wasn't so sure. So yeah guys, that was basically last we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. What do you mean info cards, Kabuto-san? The voice of Soccer said. Team Ice Fox had been rather bored, given the fact that the instructor hasn't arrived yet, so they made their way towards the location. What I mean is that this card has many information on the participants in this exam, and since you're fellow Leaf Ninjas, I can divulge some of that information to you. That is if you have someone in mind you want to know about, said Kabuto, a genin of Konoha. How could you have a list of other people from hidden villages already when the exam just started at Sai? That's simple. This is my 7th time taking the exam. I'm a bit embarrassed on that fact, but I hope to reach Shunin this time. Plus, I got all this information, so I don't think that it was a complete waste. So, is there anyone you want to find out about? Yeah, Team Ice Fox. Naruto Uzumaki, Natsuma, and Haku Sasuke's head. Well, that's easy, you know their names. As he grabbed 3 cards and sent chakra into them. Not much, I'm afraid. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. He just returned to Konoha after a 6 years exile, and was apparently trained as a shinobi during that period. His skills are pretty much unknown due to his absence, but if his father is anything to go on, he must be quite adept at ninjutsu. He was tested as a candidate and passed with flying colors. Recently been on a B-rank mission at turn to 8 and was placed on Team 7 with Jonin Sensei, Kakashi Hatake. Sorry, there's not really anymore, as the room was deadly quiet after hearing that. A few outside the Fire Country knew about the 4th Hokage's son, that he even had a son. And yet he was right here, standing right in front of them, the man's legacy. Apparently, despite hating Naruto, Konoha didn't want to attack, as his information was not worldwide. After all, it didn't seem like everyone knew it, as the room was deadly quiet, as a few stone shinobis narrowed their eyes. Some of the looks were of respect, but the stone genins' dead glares were sent his way, and he also noticed Team Whirlpool. They were in front of the crowd, probably wanted to get as much information from him as possible. He also felt that same heated gaze on him from before, as a stone genin strolled up towards him and stopped. Are you really the 4th Hokage's son? Venom was in the boy's tone. And if I am, said Naruto, then I'll just tell you to watch yourself. Because since you're no good of a father is dead, we'll be coming after you instead. I really wouldn't recommend that, said Naruto, as this guy said I'm unknown, and it's a very dangerous thing to tackle something that you don't know about. It doesn't matter, the boy said. You will die for the sins of your father. That's a promise, he spat, before he walked back into the crowd. As Kabuto coughed, cutting attention, as people went back their own doings. As I was doing before that happened, Natsuma. No last name. No prior in the village whatsoever. Apparently, it's Naruto's companion while he was gone, and returned with him. Her skills are unknown, but she was partnered with Naruto on that false B-rank mission. And finally, Haku. No last name either, well, none that is known. She hails from Water Country, though not as a shinobi, is adept at water, and wind as well. She apparently has a Genkai of some kind. Well, it seems like Team Ice Fox has the element of surprise on their side. A powerful weapon. After all, what you don't know can come to bite you. Kabuto was about to put his cards away until Naruto spoke. Tell me about Team Whirlpool. Uzumaki values and his 2 siblings, said Naruto. Uzumaki? Wait, isn't that your clan, Naruto? Sakura asked. No, said Naruto. That was all he said as Team Whirlpool clenched their fists. Kabuto, said Naruto. Yeah, right on it, said Kabuto. As he rummaged through his cards, adding the chakra. Team Whirlpool. Uzumaki, Katsumi, values Uzumaki, Uzumaki Koshiro. Their Jonin instructor is Kushina Uzumaki, the current head of the Uzumaki clan. Seems to have some info on this team, and taught by the ex-wife of the 4th Hokage. Impressive. Uzumaki Katsumi, the current heir to the infamous Uzumaki clan that resides in the Whirlpool country. The oldest of the 3 siblings, her mission list is quite impressive. 50D rank, 15C rank, 8B rank. Whoa, 3A rank. She seemed to be well versed in all aspects of the shinobi arts, but is more in depth and excel and prefer ninjutsu. She is said to be a ninjutsu prodigy amongst the clan, having created jutsus of her own at a young age. As a smug smirk came on Katsume's face, Uzumaki values the next born after Katsumi. His mission report is the same as his sister, but he preferred to use taijutsu more than anything. He was deemed the best taijutsu user in his generation in Whirlpool, after creating an impressive fighting style that is made even more powerful when enhanced with his chakra. Rumors from Whirlpool say that he can decimate the entire mountain with this, but rumors are rumors. As a bushy eyebrow raised at that, as everyone was now invested, most people looking over. And finally, Uzumaki Koshiro, the youngest of the siblings, but apparently no less dangerous. His mission report is the same, but he's also participated in the capturing and interrogations of a couple of shinobis. He's well rounded in all aspects, but he has a knack for genjutsu. Apparently so much so he was named Wizard of Genjutsu by shinobi peers and used his skills in his interrogations. Apparently has never met anyone that he wasn't able to break. It seems there are a few teams looking for this year. Ice Fox, with their unknown skills, the dangerous Whirlpool team, as well as the stand taught by the Kazekage military general. Seems that this year should prove to be the most interesting, said Kabuto mostly to himself, but everyone else had the same thoughts as well. Quite interesting indeed, said Naruto to himself. I just wonder, Kabuto, what your master Orochimaru is planning at this moment, Naruto thought to himself. As Naruto figured out that he was a spy, he smelled like snakes, but rooting him out right now could be a bad choice, as he preferred to gather some information first. So, some strong opponent this year, huh? Nothing like the Academy, Sasuke thought to himself. Well, it doesn't matter. As he clenched his fists, he was gonna be the best. Damn. Now he has the idea of what we're capable of, and all we got was his name, Katsumi Curse. Well, it doesn't matter. We will crush him and finally allow my brother Soul to be free. As Valios thought the same thing as the three of them went into the crowd. Arashi, why did you lie to us? Temari thought to herself. Meanwhile, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, why are you so familiar to me? The Kumo Kunoichi said to herself. As she watched him for a moment before, she was called by her team as she made her way over. There was a massive poof as everyone turned their head. It's a lot of you this year, huh? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll cut that number down. I am Marino Ibiki, the proctor for the first part of the exams. Now, let us begin, he said, with a cruel smile on his face. Moments later, papers and pens were handed out, as Ibiki took his time to explain all the rules about cheating and whatnot. I hope you have listened well, because neither I or my helpers will repeat any of the rules to you. Now all of you, begin, he said. The room went quiet. Hey, Natsumai, the woman I was talking about. 3 decks behind you over to the left. As Natsumai turned her head towards the blonde with green eyes, she did kind of look like a cat, as Natsumai sniffed the ear. So it is you, Aiza-chan. The little hellcat didn't even say hi to me. So, any idea who she is, Naruto asked. No, but you're right, she does look like a cat. Are you sure that you weren't just checking her out? You'll figure it soon, Naruto-kan. This will be my revenge for this morning, she thought to herself, making sure to not make him hear. I already said no, said Naruto. Well, you're probably lying, because even I can see those curves in the right places. She chuckled to herself. I mean, imagine if she was truly flexible like a cat. She could do all these moves. As she chuckled, thinking that he might be blushing right now. Not to ruin the fun, but given that you now saw Team Whirlpool up close, what do you think of them? Well, on a ninja standpoint, they're a pretty good team, trained in each of the arts, and all of them specializing in one different era from each other. It's a perfect team, said Naruto. True, even if you have nothing to say good about that woman, you can at least say that she's not stupid when you come towards Ninja World. But what are you gonna do if you face one of them? I'll destroy them utterly, just to insult their pride, especially if it's in front of that woman. By the way, do you think I should keep a clone following Kabuto, he asks. No, it would be best to lay low off Orochimaru radar right now. Let the proctor know about him, and let the Hokage deal with him. We have more important things to do than handle a spy. So, what if I face one of them, she asks. You know I will never tell you how to fight your battles, Natsumai-chan, said Naruto. But, sometimes accidents do happen, and the hand might slip and end up causing severe damage. Probably even death. Natsumai smiled at that, as she loved it when he was acting rather demonic. You always know just what to say, Foxy-sama, she said, using her personal nickname for him. Well, I know you, Natsu-chan, said Naruto. Well, that you do. Every single inch of me. After all, you got me there 6 times last night, because you know me that well, she said, in a rather seductive voice. As she knew that he was making him hot and bothered, thinking about the images. As she smiled at that. The exam then finally came to an end. Now, for the final 10 questions, it's optional. What do you mean optional, said Temari. Exactly what I said, said Ibiki. The choices is completely up to you. Now, if you choose to stay and take it, that's all good. But if you fail, you will never, ever allowed to be promoted to tuning ever in your life. Doing D ranks the rest of your life. What? That's not fair, Temari shouted. Ibiki growled. Tough, my choice. It's my exam and my rules. Not all choices you have in this life will be easy. So it's up to you. Stay. And fail. Never be a tuning. Leave. Take it next year. It's all up to you. You have 1 minute. And once you give up, your team is also disqualified. As a few teams raise their hand rather quickly. Weak fools. They don't deserve to be shinobis if they're so easily shaken up, Values thought, as he watched as the Jennies leave. As 5 more teams got up and left the room, feeling himself, as Ibiki looked around. He already knew the teams that were going to stay. Ice Fox, the Kumo team, the 7, the Whirlpool. A few others though. They didn't really catch his eye, but he had a feeling that they would stay. After a while, no one else left. Well, seems like you all here won't leave. I'll give you a single second to think it over. Done. On the battlefield, you don't get much time. Now for all of you that stay behind, you pass. Troublesome, said Shikamaru. What? I don't get it, said Soccer, as Ibiki then went on to explain. Something burst through the window, as the banner was placed up by kunais that embedded into the wall that read, the single sexy Uncle Midarashi. Ah, feminine voice said. So these are the brats for this year's tuning exams, huh? They don't really look like much. Damn, Ibiki, how do you let so much pass? You might be losing your edge. It's not my fault they want to die, said Ibiki. Well, Uncle said, as she licked her lips. I'll make sure to skim this number down, rather easily. Alright, brats. Just because you pass this part doesn't mean that you're anything special. Because my part will be a lot harder. I expect you to show up at Training Ground 44 tomorrow at 9 AM. If you're a second late, don't bother showing up. You won't like it. As she poofed away. Alright, you heard your proctor. You have rest of the day to prepare. And I suggest you use it. As the Janians got up and started to leave. As his subordinates started to gather the exams. Until one of them called him over. As he was given a paper. Proctor sang. The Konoha shinobi called Kabuto isn't who he appeared to be. He's one of Orochimaru's spies. This is important that you tell Hokage-sama about it immediately. If he asks, who told you this, just tell him 5 tails. He will understand. Ibiki drawled the message. Well, he already knew about Orochimaru's invasion plan. However, he was seriously pissed off that spy could get past him. He was the best interrogator after all. And yet, he didn't even notice anything. Meanwhile, as everyone was dispersing, hey guys, wait up, said Naruto. What is it, Naruto? Said Gaara, with a hard edge to his voice. You're heading back to your rooms, right? They looked at each other. Yeah? Then we can finally have that talk. Why should we even trust you, said Temari, as she sounded sad and angry at the same time. Look, I'm sorry about lying to you guys. If we can have that talk, I'll tell you everything. They looked at him for a few moments, pondering whether or not they should believe him. But eventually they nodded. As they headed to the hotel where the team San was staying at, as they reached it in little time, as they arrived and knocked on Baki's door. Baki-sensei, it's us, said Kankuro. As the man opened the door. Ah, I guess that you guys passed. He blinked. Arashi, he said. Yep, it's me, said Naruto. What's going on, said Baki. He need to talk to us, sensei, about our mission, said Gaara. As Baki, eyes became hard. Ah, come on in, he said, as he motioned for them to come inside. The moment they stepped inside, Naruto was grabbed as he was thrust up against a wall. As Baki pulled the kunai. I'm so sorry, Naruto, he said, but no one must know. As Baki felt something pressing up against him, 2 sharp objects. As he didn't even notice a woman. they had got behind him so fast. Damn it, he cursed. It's alright, Baki-san. I already have plans for the sand, and I wish to speak to the four of you, so that you can live, said Naruto. As Baki glanced behind him, very well, he said. As he lowered Naruto, as Naruto went through hand signs, and performed a jutsu as room was sealed off, no one could hear what was going on inside. Before I start, I just want to apologize for lying to you all when I was in the sand. My real name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and I'm the son of the Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze. Well, it's a good thing you had lied. If we had known the truth, things wouldn't have played out so easily, and we wouldn't have been so friendly. I figured that much. Plus, my father has a lot of enemies. Some of them are making it through the exams. Hatred going down in line, said Naruto. Well, it doesn't really matter now. But tell me, how do you know what is going on? I have a spy in the hidden sound, and I learned from him, however. At the time of the report, he didn't know when the invasion was going to happen. You have a spy in the sound? How the hell could you get one so deep inside that would tell you about that when all you did was traveling around Baki? Well, since you're putting everything on the table, as Naruto looked towards Natsu, the both of them raise their hand, release, as they break the illusion, showing them their adult forms. But their tails were not there, just their pointed ears. It feels nice not to limit my chakra and ki, said Naruto, as he cracked a few of his points. Everyone was shocked. Temari and Haku were surprised as he looked towards Naruto in his adult form, while Kankuro couldn't help but turn his face at the blush that he got from looking at Natsume. Baki kept himself calm, looking at his person who looked like Naruto slightly. Explain, he said. That's a bit hard to explain. By now, I'm sure that Gaara has told you guys that I'm a Jinchuriki, just like he is. Jinchuriki? Haku questioned, as she was completely out of the group. Sorry, Haku, we never told you. Sorry about that. Well, it's a long story. Jinchurikis are humans who have bijoos sealed inside of them. Gaara and I are a few of those people. There are 9 for all for the bijoos, but we don't know if all of them are sealed. She looked towards Naruto and then at Gaara. So that explained a few things, like his inhuman skills, probably his personality trait as well. I lived with a man who called himself a demon for years, so living the real thing isn't much of a difference, aside from being treated a lot better, she said and smiled. Thank you, said Naruto. But just to make note, Jinchurikis aren't demons. We simply live with one inside of us. But my case is different, we'll get to that later. Now, as for how I got the spy, as Naruto told him about going towards the snow, and the spy showing up, being one of their companion friend that died. And that's how I finally learned how to get Natsume out of the damn seal, said Naruto. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that, as Baki stepped back slightly as he looked towards this woman. Yes, I am the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. And she's right here, said Naruto. They were shocked. They could hand that Gaara was the Jinchuriki of the Ichibai, but to hear that the most powerful bijuu was free. What do you mean she's free, said Temari, as she looked towards Natsume with fear. Calm down, you scary pants, said Naruto. You think that having Gaara as a Jinchuriki would have made you less afraid of a bijuu? Natsume smiled. Well, at least I still got it, she said. People cowered in my name. Don't worry, all of you, I'm not here to kill anyone, said Natsume. Well, anyone in this room anyway, she said. And besides, you people were one of the few to be kind to Naruto-kun in the beginning. So I wouldn't harm any of you, neither would I harm you, Haku-chan. So, you can go ahead and sit down. As they still looked hesitant, as she growled, they all returned back to their seats as she smiled, giving Naruto a wonderful smile, as he simply laughed a bit before turning back. Please explain, said Baki, as Naruto told them the basics of what happened with the jutsu and how they were able to place her inside the body. So you're basically saying that one of the most powerful bijuu in existence found a loophole around the sea like your father placed on you, and now is in a real body. Yep. Hey, you said that your case was different from Gaara's. What do you mean by that? Asked Kankuro. Oh, I nearly forgot about that. Well, pretty much a human body can only hold so much demon chakra until it overloads, and for lack of a better visual, implodes. Now, because of how Jinchuriki works, the demon chakra slowly drip into the human coils that expand them. I'm sure that Gaara has the most chakra in the sand right now, right? As the Sand Shinobis nodded. Well, seeing that humans can only hold so much demonic chakra, but if your body reaches a limit and there's still more to absorb, in my case with Natsume, the only possible way of survival is if The human become a Henyu, a half-demon, so the body can continue to absorb the chakra. Half-demon can hold unlimited amount of chakra, so they aren't limited like humans are. Wait, so that means, said Tamari, yes, a few years ago, I reached my limit, so I had to turn into a Henyu to survive. That explained my form right now. Transforming my body was pushed up to my physical peak, into what my body would have turned into. So I was pushed into my 30s, said Naruto. So, this gonna happen to me as well? Said Gaara. No, Shikaku doesn't have as much chakra as Natsuma-chan. No offense, Shikaku. Henyu are for 5 tails and higher, said Naruto. So this is what you really look like, Naruto-san, said Haku, as she was intrigued by it all. Well, kind of, and no. Can I see your true form, she asks. Sure, said Naruto, as both him and Natsuma placed their hands together. Release. As everyone was shocked when they saw his tails appear behind him. He has tails, said Kankuro. It seems that way, said Tamari, as Haku were their eyes and tails that were flickering behind him. Well, know that is out of the way. What were you saying, said Baki. Oh, I just want to know the specifics. About the invasion, like when it's gonna happen, and how much Shinobis are gonna be there. Plans or strategies that Orochimaru have to bring Konoha down. Like where's Orochimaru right now as well? Baki couldn't just tell him everything about the invasion. The Hokage already knows, said Naruto. And besides, I don't believe that things are going as you think it is. What do you mean by that? For the time I got to know the Kazekage, I don't believe that he's the one behind this invasion of the sand. I think that he's being used. Know that they thought about it, even Baki noticed. Since the invasion has been announced, there has been some changes in the Kazekage. He was renouncing all of their plans. Despite their protests, he renounced them all, and he agreed with everything that the stone wanted. I have been seeing a few changes. His actions over the past couple of months since the start of the invasion, since we started to talk about it, has been different. He's been designing a lot of the Sand allegiance and going along with everything that Orochimaru said. But until there's some proof, we can't just disobey Hokage. I understand that, but we have time since it's not happening until the finals. And that's a month away, so we have time. I'll find the proof that you need once you do come to me. I don't want to stand in a war that the Sand did not start it itself. As Naruto nodded, Gaara, I know the jutsu to free Shikaku as well. Talk with Shikaku and think it over. It can benefit the both of you. You can tell me after we deal with this whole invasion problem. Gaara was shocked. He never knew that he could free Shikaku as well. Thank you, said Gaara, with a smile. Not a problem, as they transform back into their younger forms. And I'm sure what I said in this room will stay in this room, correct? That not even the Kazekage will hear of this. As they all nodded back, as he smiled at that. And with that they left. So, what shall we do now, asked Haku. I was actually planning on teaching you a few of the Hayaton jutsus I pick up in the hidden snow, said Naruto. Someone taught you Hayaton jutsus? Haku was surprised by that, as not many people was willing to divulge their secrets. Yep, it's the reason that we went there. Well, thank you for your help, Naruto-san, said Haku, as she bowed in appreciation. Come on, just that you know that I'm older than you now. You bring this formal thing to me. Come on, Haku-chan, we're friends, said Naruto. Thank you, Naruto-kanji said. That wasn't so hard now, was it? As he created a clone. He will bring you back to the house and teach you a few of them, okay? As Haku nodded a smile, as a pair of them went off to the house, as Naruto and Natsuma made their way to visit Hana. When they arrived towards the clinic, there was a lot of patients and their animals. Whoa, that's a lot, said Naruto, as Naruto saw a brown-haired girl crying. She had a hybrid, a fox and dog hybrid in her lap. The thing looked quite menacing and yet at the same time cute. As Naruto saw a blur rush by, as Hana was doing her best to help the animals, but she was overwhelmed. As Naruto kneeled down to the girl. Hey, what's your name? He said. The girl sniffed as she wiped her tears. My name is Mocha, she said. Oh, and who's your friend here? Said Naruto. It's Yoshi. And what's wrong with Yoshi? Naruto asked. She shook her head, she didn't know. He just fell over crying last night. My mom and I brought him here because we didn't know. Well, I'm pretty good with animals. Mind if I take a look? Mocha looked at him, and his eyes looked gentle. He seemed nice. As she brought the small pup up. Hey Yoshi, can you hear me? Said Naruto. As the thing yipped. He has some kitsune blood in him, so I can understand him, said Naruto. Tell me what's going on. Mocha-chan, let me out of the house. I just got adopted, and I didn't know that people hate foxes here. And when they saw me, they said I looked like the Kyuubi. And they kept on throwing things at me, and they hit me with rocks. So I ran back home. But when I did, my sides were hurting me, and it was so painful. So I fell over in pain. Naruto had to keep himself calm, that these wicked, heartless people do that to this poor little cup right here. As he had to keep himself from frowning, just to make sure the pup, and also the girl, keep calm. These fools, they never learn. Alright Mocha-chan, said Naruto. I found out what is wrong with Yoshi. Can you get me some tissues? The girl nodded as she brought in some tissues. What are you gonna do? She asked. I'm gonna need you to be a strong girl for me and turn around, okay? But trust me, he's gonna be fine. I promise you that. Are you sure? She said, as Naruto nodded. Alright, please help Yoshi, she said. As she turned, she brought one of her hands forward and held onto his pants leg. I'm gonna put you to sleep, okay? A few of your ribs are broken, but I'm gonna take care of it, okay? As Yoshi nodded, as Naruto put the pup to sleep. Naruto learned a lot about human and animal, and he also studied a lot about the foxes because of his fox summoning contract, so he knew what to do. About 5 minutes later, as Naruto called Mocha to turn towards him, as promised, he said as he handed the sleeping bandage Yoshi towards her. He's okay? As Naruto nodded, she grabbed him gently with tears running down her eyes. Thank you so much, she said. Not a problem. Go and tell your mom so she don't have to worry anymore. When Yoshi wakes up, he should be a bit sore, but he will be good in a few days, okay? As he ruffled her hair. Thank you again so much, she said. As Naruto smiled, she ran off. A moment later, Mom, that's him. He was the one that saved Yoshi. Alright, Mocha-chan, alright. As she laughed at her daughter's antics of dragging her. Sorry for the trouble, and thank you for helping my little The woman paused after seeing who Mocha was talking about. Mocha. As she placed her daughter behind her. That thing didn't hurt you or Yoshi, did it? Huh? Of course not. What are you talking about, Mom? Naruto. He helped Yoshi. He's all better now because of Naruto. He's a really... But she held on to her daughter so she could not go towards him. Mocha, listen to me. Don't ever go near that boy again. But why? He helped Yoshi, Mom. Mocha, that thing isn't nice. She stopped herself. He's not like the rest of us, Mocha-chan. And it's dangerous if you stay near him. She had to make her daughter understand. Promise me that you won't go near him again. But promise me. Mocha frowned. She looked towards Naruto. Mocha. Yes, Mom. Good. Now let's get you and Yoshi home. As she took her daughter and walked off with her. I'm so sorry, Mocha. Mouth to the words. These people are really ignorant. Well, at least a child understood. Children. Always fun to be around. Because they were innocent. As he made his way off, he then came upon the door as Natsumai went off to help Hana. Natsumai, it's better to use 2 fingers. But why? Can't I use my hand or something? Said Natsumai. I know from experience it will be painful and uncomfortable. Fine. You think you'll be happy with me lending you a hand for this? I'm very grateful and happy for you helping me out, so I can use my hand for other things. But I'm the most experienced with this kind of patient. So please, just help me finish, he said. Nah, said Naruto to himself. As the way they spoke, nah, he didn't believe that they weren't. Nah. As he heard a bit of groaning. No, his mind was just overthinking things. But there is no problem in checking, right? I hope I'm not As he saw Natsumai, she had on gloves that had blood onto Hana, working on a patient. Hey Arashika, glad you can make it. Sorry about not greeting you, but as you can see I have my hands full. Not a problem. Were you guys working on that cat the entire time? Yep, but Natsumai was getting a bit uppity with me. Why do you ask? Oh, nothing. I just heard you guys from out in the hall, said Naruto. And it kind of sounded like... No, never mind, he said. The 2 girls looked at him, as they thought about what they had said. As Hana put it together, and... Kazuma Arashi, she said, you're lucky I'm working this poor cat, or I would have had to beat her ass for thinking that I was making Natsumai do that to me. Sorry, said Naruto. So he was thinking those thoughts about us. Well, any guy would. I mean, we are pretty hot, said Natsumai. But Hana, you do realize when you 2 become mates, we're gonna have to share him sometime together, right? Hana froze. Truth be told, she never thought about that part. If Naruto and her relationship became Well, to that point, polygamy was used in Konoha to keep a couple struggling bloodlines come along, but she never thought about it with her. It made her thought about the distant future. Hana also wasn't anyway into girls. She appreciated a good-looking female and all that, but she didn't swing that way. Like her friends, Anko and Kurnai, everyone thought that they were hot, but she never thought of them the other way. Although, she had to admit, Natsume was the most beautiful female she has ever seen. She was a bit self-conscious of the fact that she wasn't as beautiful as Natsume was, but as she thought about it, life was about taking chances, right? The three of them together once. Well, as long as she gets her time with Naruto, she wouldn't mind experimenting just to try it. Well, I suppose you're right. That will happen on occasions, said Hana. Good. Now I think it's time we take care of these patients, so Arashikon can take us out on that date. As Naruto helped out, as he summoned a bunch of clones, who got to work as well. When everything was finally over, well, I have grown a lot more respectful to your work, doing this day in and day out, he said. As long as the animals are healthy and safe, she said, a smile on her face. Time skip. As they dropped off Hana and they were making their way. Well, aren't you lucky, Naruto-kun? Having two really hot females at your side. I saw the looks that the other guys were giving you. Jealousy was all written all over it. Perhaps fate is just making up for lost time, said Naruto as he wrapped his arm around her waist before pulling her into a kiss. Later that night, as three Kumo shinobis were walking on the street in the village of Konoha. Damn bastards. They said it was all you can drink, but they threw us out in closing time. What was up with that? A teenage boy said. He had tan skin and white hair and brown eyes. The shortest amongst them, a kunoichi, rolled her eyes. The boy, only 17 years old, and already addicted to alcohol. When on mission, she had to be like a second mother to him, to keep him from doing bad things, stupid things while he was drunk, and robbing people the bad way. Damn it, REI, can't you go one night without drinking your ass off? As the 16-year-old girl scowled at him, as he simply waved her off. Hey, Bukihime, why didn't you drink anything? Don't tell me you're scared of drinking because of that thing inside of you, he asked rather hatefully, as she simply ignored him. Hey, just because you're older than us doesn't make you superior. Don't forget you're nothing more than a weapon for us to pass the exam. So don't get all high and mighty because you're more powerful, because we know someone that is more powerful than you. Got it, Bukihime? Yes, the older woman said, in a rather soft tone. Why do you take that from him, kitten? A feminine voice said inside the woman's mind. And have the Raikage punish me for acting out against his only son. I'd rather take his taunts and deal with that punishment, is my Chen. The woman thought, as the thing seemed to agree with her. The group arrived towards their hotel. As they got to their floor, as they entered their separate rooms, as the blonde plopped down in the bed. So much after one day of exam. And I don't understand why that boy, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, feels so familiar. It's strange. She didn't know why, but ever since seeing him, she racked her brain over and over to try and figure out where has she seen him before. But she just didn't know. But when she learned his name and heritage, more question was brought to her mind than the boy. She even asked her tenant, but she was sleeping. She hated this feeling of uncertainty. Her life had been uncertain since she was born. She never knew what the next day might bring, and it infuriated her and made her feel helpless all at the same time. Well, she was always helpless. She didn't have anyone, except for her friend, Akeko, and her tenant, Itsunami. As she shifted her body in the bed trying to find a comfortable position, she heard a clank sound. As she knocked something over, it was a kunai, with a note attached to it. Someone snuck in my room? As she looked around frantically, as she checked the drawer with her underwear inside. Things were bad at her village, as people had come in a lot of time to steal things that were in there. And not to mention they went for her underwear drawer. Because she turned so much of them down, because she knew one thing that they wanted was just to get to sleep with her. And they took it out as revenge by stealing her stuff, especially her clothing, mostly underwear. Pervert, she cursed under her breath, remembering all the new pair of underwear she had to buy because of guys stealing them. As she read the note, Yo, Bukihime, I know that isn't your real name, but I was named to learn at the exam, so I have to address you as such. Sorry about that. But more important matters, I want to meet you. And I have some questions that need to be answered, and I'm sure you have them as well. Come alone at this location outside of Konoha. Bring your weapon or anything. If you believe this is a trap, but I'll be waiting at 1 AM. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. She wanted to go to find out what was it that she knew about this boy, but at the same time she did not want to go. Her shinobi side was telling her that this was a trap. Isma-chan, I can use some help, she said. We both know that you're gonna go, but if things are bad, I'll be right there to back you up. Alright. She looked towards the clock as it was 12:54, as she was able to make her way, but the guards were double at the gate. It would look rather strange for her to be sneaking out at this time of night, but then a man dressed in orange was able to gather one of the guards' attention that was there. Her chance as she used it to make her way outside. She was now alone in enemy territory, even if she had permission to be in the shinobi village. But that was for Chunin exams, not out here alone. She had to note it was rather detailed on where the place were. As she made her way, she checked the place out before going anywhere near it, but she didn't see any traps or anything. So she slowly made her way, as she found him as he was lying up against a tree, a red-hilt katana lying on his waist. As he seemed like he was sleeping, she pulled out her kunai. No need to worry, the sword is simply my own. Security, he said, as Naruto got up and walked towards as the moonlight basked his features. The sword vanished, as she slowly placed away her kunai. I'm Naruto Namikaze, but I'm sure you already know that by now, he said, as he reached his hand out. She slowly reached her hand and touched his. I'm Yujito, she said. Nice to meet you, Yujito, he said. Well, I guess it would be the gentleman thing to let lady go first, he said to her. I'm sure you have questions for me. I doubt that you have come so willingly if you did not. She narrowed her eyes on him. Well, go on. I'm an open book, he said to her. And she did not say anything for a few seconds. She just looked him over. She didn't spoke. My first question is to know whether we know each other somehow. And if that is so, how do we do? Sorry, that was a question I wanted to ask you the most, said Naruto. Seems that we're the same in that boat. But we can try to figure this out. Oh, she said, looking quite sad that he didn't know why they knew each other. He didn't know why, but he felt sad, know that she was sad, and it was weird. Well, my next question is why you smell so much like a fox? Sorry, that's a rather deep secret I only relinquish to a selective few. But you smell a lot like a cat, he said. Oh, that's a rather deep personal secret I only relinquish to a select few, she said, mocking him with what he said to her. She didn't know what was going on. She was never this playful to anyone before in Kumo. And yet, it seems normal to do it with Naruto. Huh, funny, said Naruto, as Naruto simply paused and stared at her. What, she said. Look, I'm not a pervert, but I know what this will sound like. Can you please show me your stomach for a second? She stepped back a bit. Why? She asked. It confused her. In Kumo, they want to see her chest or something else, but they never asked to see her stomach. Please, this might answer our first question. She could show him and let him find out her secret, but she really wanted to know. Or there worse, she would have to take him down for him knowing everything about her. But she doubted that she could do that. She didn't know why. She didn't even know him. That was strange. Show it to him, kitten. Huh? Show him. I believe we can trust him, the voice in her head said. He was half her age. And she released a breath before she clipped the buckles off. As she slowly pulled her shirt up, the cold hair hit her stomach as she shivered slightly. She did not look at him, but she prepared herself just in case. Ah, I knew I was right. You're a Jinjulki. And a Fednibi. No less. I'm gonna have a talk with Natsume a bit later. Yujito was confused. She did not use any chakra, so how did he notice the seal? It didn't make any sense. But this was dangerous that he found out. But what are you gonna do now? She said as she slowly placed her shirt back down, buckling back the clip. Naruto raised the eyebrow as she slowly pulled back the kunai. What do you mean? He asked. I cannot have you telling anyone what I am. But I also want to know, was this what you were expecting? If it is so, how can this strange connection between us be answered by you knowing that I'm a Jinjulki? She asked. Do you think I have some bad intentions? Said Naruto. Do you think I will? She slammed him against a tree as she moved towards him rather quickly as she placed the kunai at his throat. Despite this feeling, I need to know, what are you going to do with this information? She asked. As he simply laughed. What's so funny? She asked. Sorry, it's just funny I would meet up with two other Jinjulkis just after returning back to Konoha, he said. I never knew I'd find my kind so quickly. Well, two of them so easily. She narrowed her eyes. Stop messing with me, she said. Was he taking her for a fool or something? You don't believe me, Naruto asks. You, the son of the Kage, being someone like me, being a weapon to be used. You're trying to mock me or something, she said as she pushed him, breaking the tree behind him, as she added too much pressure as he fell over. As Naruto sighed, why is it every time I meet another Jinchuriki, they always have to cause me pain, or try to kill me? First it was my hand with Gaara and now this, pushing me through a tree like that. Ow, I got splinters, he said. Seems I was correct, said Nibi. What? Sorry, kitten. I had a hunch, knowing that this boy was another Jinchuriki, but I didn't want to say anything until I knew there was some kind of proof, other than the whisker marks. But you being in so close contact with him, I can feel it. The power coursing through his veins. So he truly is one. Yeah. I'm so sorry, she said. She turned back to Naruto. I did not know. I let my emotions get better of me. It's alright. At least it proved to you that I wasn't trying to make fun or belittle you for what we are, said Naruto. Oh, yeah, she said. Which bijuu do you hold, she asked. Well, you did say I smell like her. Her eyes widened. You're the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, she said in shock. Yep, that's mine. It's my bijuu, said Naruto. She was surprised. A boy of only 13, he had the most powerful bijuu inside of him. But that still doesn't explain what. What was the connection that they had between each other? The both of them were a Jinchuriki, but there was others out there, as he just said that he met another one today. But what was the connection? Why did it feel like they know each other? And why did she push him through the tree? She felt sadness. Like she was angry at herself for hurting him as well. It didn't make any sense. But he didn't have any idea either, as she wondered, could she figure it out? But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want the next person to, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. But I'm moving on, see you guys soon. Peace.